and start those seeds. If you haven't started the seeds, start the seeds. Start them. Come on. Hey friend, another beautiful day. Probably not going to get out in the garden because I'm still trying to edit. But my car has been smelling for like a year. And so Boo changed the filter yesterday and we're wiping it down and found mold underneath one of the floor mats. So I put like apple cider vinegar water mixture and soaked the floor and Lysol. The smell's still not coming out. It's gonna need to be detailed. But while I was out here, I was noticing my river birch. I said, "Why are you crying, baby?" Can you see that? I don't know if it picked it up on the camera, but even if I go over here, I see this is wet too. Let me see. Yeah, this is weeping too. That's so weird. So weird. So, of course, I looked it up. And basically, in the spring, I don't know if it's just river birch, but I just looked up river birch. It weeps sap like that from the old cut spots because water is circulating through the tree's nervous system, I guess that's what it said, preparing the tree for leafing out. It's March 8th, March 9th, and my trees are preparing to leaf out. So that's why it's weeping. And I think this is the first year that I noticed that it was doing it really bad in the spring at least. Oh, Amazon, sorry, it was someone acting weird. Anyway, that's the first time I noticed it in the spring. I noticed it after I cut the trees. This is the first time I'm noticing it just off. I really want to get out there and start clearing out my garden beds today. It's like going to be 73 degrees. Then the temperature is supposed to drop. We're supposed to get storms and maybe snow again. So I really want to get out there today. So I'll pick you up either later or another day. It's time to pick up the poo. Chris. Start in the grass first.
Wait, why? Is there poop in the grass?
Yes, it's poop in the grass. The dog's been out here. There's poop over here. And going all down this right here. Start there first before you start in the main area. Now, friend, I'm so mad at myself. I was out here trying to clean up some of these garden beds with one hand because I was holding the camera in one hand and trying to pull with the other. And in a lot of this footage, I wasn't paying attention to where the camera was pointing because I was looking at what I was doing and not looking at what I was doing through the camera. Rookie mistake, I guess. But I was coming. This is where I had like my collard greens and cabbage or whatever I had in this last year. And I wanted to see if it was going to make it to this year. It obviously didn't. So I wanted to pull it out. In this bed, I think that was a snapdragon. But I also had onions in this bed. I want to say it was like the green onions that you could get from the grocery store. I had overwintered them, put them in there, and then some regular onions I have planted. You can see they're moldy. It was a few in there that was moldy, and I took it out. This is my raspberry bush. I was just inspecting it just to see how it looked. I'm not so certain it's going to come back, and like I've said many times before, I am okay with that. And then as far as my strawberry green stalk, I was really hoping that they were going to come back on their own. And that whole green stalk, I'm going to move them to another part of the garden, but that's going to be just strawberries. But digging in there, I'm not really seeing any signs of hope. I don't see any green. It didn't look like it's coming back. But that was the extent of what I did on this day. Morning, friend. It is March 10th. It was not that long ago, like 63 degrees outside. It was warm enough where I was short sleeve shirt and I was in the garage doing some organizing and getting rid of some things that needed to go. When I really hit that garage, the main thought is, if we had to move today, would this come with me? And if the answer is no, it's going in the garbage, because if I'm not grabbing it or using it, it don't need to be in there. Anywho, the temperature's going to drop. We're going to get in the 40s. We may get snow. But I looked up, and technically I can still plant carrots as a direct sow. So I made a little concoction with the bone meal, blood meal, and worm castings that I bought the other day. And I'm going to go to the container, or to the raised garden bed, which is like a metal trough that I got from Lowe's. That's going to hold my carrots. I'm going to do direct sow. And then with the plethora of leaves that I have, I'm going to cover it up to protect it from any weather. Let's see the seeds that I put in my pocket. I just had them. I just had these seeds. I was going to use up a packet that I already had open. And now I done laid them down. And I don't know what I did with them. That's crazy. It was right in my face the whole time. All right. These are some old seeds. I want to get rid of these seeds. It says that I can start planting in my zone around March, and these are old. So I think this was before the change. Now it says to do it after danger of heavy frost. The way the weather is now, who knows if the frost we're going to get is heavy. Who knows? But with it being covered, I think it'll be okay. And I have cloches I can use. But I want to try. I want to get this in. And yes, definitely the temperature has dropped. I can feel it. OMG. Woo! Earlier I could be out here with just a t-shirt. Not anymore. It got cold. The soil, sorry, I know that's a bad angle, should already be damp. Woo, it got cold out here. Let's see. I hate I have to do this with one hand. Look at that. In my last video, when I said that soil was beautiful underneath the leaves, I was not lying. Look at this. Oh, we're going to loosen up the soil. Actually, I'm going to loosen up the soil. Ooh, that soil looks gorgeous. I'm going to push some soil because I'm going to use it to cover the seeds. And if I got to thin them out, I got to thin them out. Okay. Do a thin layer of soil. And then I'm going to cover them back up with the leaves. Hopefully it'll give good insulation. Okay. And then I had this broken metal piece laying on top to kind of keep the leaves in place from blowing away. So 310 carrots, direct sow. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do This is just an experiment to see how fat or how early I can do it. I'm actually going to direct sow some peas and see if I can get an early harvest of peas, especially before pest pressure. Oh yeah, my peas are going to go here, and this is where I had the squash last year. And look, I think garlic, my honey, I think that's garlic. My garlic, oh, it didn't die. Oh, okay. So let's move these leaves back. Is there something here too? Ooh. I'll try not to disturb y'all too much. There was a garlic right there. It's rotted. We'll get rid of you. And this one too. Oh, that rotted stuff. All right. Put some of my fertilizer in here. I feel like this is another rotted piece. Plant my peas. All right, and cover them back up with the leaves. Ooh, that wind. Let's see. Yeah, that's rotted. Ugh. But some aren't. Put this piece back on top to keep the leaves in place. So, peas planted, check. Now another thing I was thinking about doing in these pots in the front, these are my whiskey barrels. I was going to start some early greens out here, and then the greens that I have started in the house, I was going to put like in I believe this raised garden bed, but I did want to have some there. So let me take a look to see if I'm going to do that today. Otherwise it may be postponed for another day. I have to see if I feel like dealing with that, you know. All right. I'm back. Walking past the I'm going to have sweet potatoes here that's going to arch over into this bed, but that's not going to be until closer to summer. So I have time. Let's get this stuff out of here. Get it out of here. And the soil in this bed didn't really drop too low. Obviously, when it becomes harvest time and it's time for me to plant something else, I'll definitely amend it. But I'm gonna leave the leaves in here. But mixing around the soil, it's not too bad. Not too bad. So I'm gonna put my bone meal, blood meal, worm casting mixture in this bed. see the wood chips I put in here. Put some soil to the side. Still got some roots. And I'm gonna put some of these. These are Georgia collards. I could direct or outdoor sown between March and May for early harvesting, and then August and September for fall harvesting. And then that will free up this bed in the summer. I'm gonna put a little bit more than I need, and if I have to thin it out, then I have to thin it out. I'm only putting seeds. Well, I did a round and then in the middle, and we'll see what comes up. I need to get a better stand for this camera. I know that, because I'm not going to be able to do everything one-handed like I'm doing right now. Try to insulate that a bit. All right. Collard green seeds starter outside. Check. Look what I did. Doesn't look the best, but it's better than it was. Peas sown outside. Check. Carrots direct sown outside. Check. The next day, the warm weather and hailstorms, thunderstorms, have turned into snow.
I buy my seed starting mix. I prefer my Jiffy seed starting mix. Here's
Recording on my phone. Sometimes it's just easier. Fran, this video is basically a week's worth of weather. I'm recording this right now in that piece with the snow, the day that I'm going to try to release this video. The beginning of this video was last Monday. You saw we were out there, short sleeve shirts, 60 something degrees, warm, able to cut off my heat during the day. Then a few days later, still kind of warm, temperature drop, boom. Still kind of warm outside, but the hailstorms, thunderstorms, next day snow. Then, let's see, was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday, so that was the 15th. Warm again. It was warm in the day. The temperature dropped like 20 degrees. It it was a thunderstorm pouring down, raining all evening. I went to sleep originally about 11 o'clock, but I was going to get up with Boo. He left at 1 o'clock this morning to go work. And I go out and I salt for him because he does have some mobility issues, right? So I didn't want him to slip because the temperatures dropped so far. We went from 60s to 20s in a matter of less than 24 hours. And I knew it might be slippery outside, so I wanted to salt. Anyway, by 1 o'clock in the morning, it was just rain, cold, whatever. By the time I finally went back to sleep around 4 o'clock this morning before I had to wake up at 6, it was snow. It was snowing. It was snow on the ground. It was frozen, just a mess. And then it's just been snowing all morning. Now, I did put those seeds in the ground. They didn't germinate. I'm not super concerned about the cold. It's still about 20-something degrees because guess what? In 2 days, it's going to be back in the 40s, 50s, and maybe 60s. They didn't germinate yet. I have them insulated with leaves. This is an experiment. I dropped a lot of seeds out there. I really hope a lot of them germinate. Then I can move them to other pots and just have a cool weather part of spring, because usually I have not been doing succession planting. I'm trying to get into that because usually whatever is in the ground is in the ground, you know, and I just pull it up and we're done in the fall. But I'm going to try the succession. So if I can get a lot sprouting, that's great. So I can get my collard greens before the pest pressure is really bad. But who knows the way this weather is, it might get really hot all of a sudden. So hopefully I will have a full harvest by greens by that time. And then I could switch over to my summer harvest and summer seed sowing. And then I still have my seeds in here of cabbage and collard greens. I could rotate in and just keep some pots open, but I just have to worry about pest pressure. It gets hot. Most of my cool weather plants didn't bolt. I keep them covered, so it wasn't that big of a deal. But I really want to try to get those cool weather plants out and harvested early spring, and then start again in the fall. This is my 4th year gardening at home, and I would probably say my 5th or 6th year gardening altogether. I'm not an expert. I'm just doing ish. Okay, I'm just doing ish. But this will be an experiment, dropping carrot, peas, and collard green seeds basically hours before hail, cold temps, and now snow. Let's see what happens. Start those seeds. If you haven't started the seeds, start the seeds. Start them. Come on. I was looking at my girl, Army Chickadee. She's starting to start up her garden, and she's like in the same boat as me, feeling overwhelmed, but we're not going to buy any starts. We're not going to do it. We're not going to do it. Monitor what we're spending. That's the theme. That is going to be the theme. I noticed that's the theme for a lot of the gardeners I watched this year. That's the theme. So let's get it started. Bye.